Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's time for Danger Rico. Howling at the moon like a bunch of wolves. Here we are with episode. And I'll tell you what, we've got a big news right now. My guests, actually, let me introduce you first. All right, I'll do the guests first, and then we'll do the big announcement. So with me today, I have James Foxy Lockhart. Hello.
Hello, Colin.
How are you? You feeling foxy?
Yeah, feeling good, feeling foxy. It's Friday on this day's record, and even though that means nothing right now, it's still got that special feeling, isn't it? That special feeling.
It means nothing to me. Oh, Friday. It doesn't.
No, but
I also have with me Mr. Ross Harmston.
Hello there, everyone.
How you doing today, Ross man?
I'm good. Caught up on RuPaul's Drag Race UK, so that was fun.
Oh yeah? You're watching quite a lot of shows at the moment, aren't you?
I am indeed. I realised that I've got loads of shows to catch up on Channel 4, which is a TV show. A TV channel, sorry. And BBC as well. So I've got a lot of stuff to watch. And
Good.
so little time.
Maybe we'll get into that. And of course, we have Mr. Daniel Thompson.
Oh, wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, not good night. Get some sleep. You deserve it. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Yeah, get some sleep. Make sure you are sleeping out there because sleep is good. If you have problems sleeping, I haven't got much advice. Maybe do a bit of exercise, get some outdoor time, Meditation. Yeah, get that REM cycle.
So it's trepidation, Ross. I was like, that's not going to help people sleep. Yeah. Trepidation. Just remember, if you're trying to sleep, worry.
We've got a big announcement. Right now.
Oh, what is it?
Listen, last week we had Danger Recall Part 17, where we covered episode 19. Now, we've had a conversation, Dangerlings, about Danger Recall, and we love it. We're enjoying it. We love doing it. We hope you're enjoying it. But listen, we're getting confused with the numbers. We have kind of mentioned this during the show at some point. We're going to change it because you know what? It's our show. We can do whatever we want. It's the old new show. So this Recall episode is now going to be episode 20, where we talk about episode 20.
Oh, that is revolutionary thinking, Colin. You are now ranking among one of the great philosophical thinkers of our age.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Does that mean that every episode we're talking about one episode?
We're going to do that now. We're not going to muck around. We're not going to do any of this. Oh, maybe we'll do 2 episodes. Maybe we'll talk about 3. Maybe we'll only talk about half an episode. No. 1 episode per Danger Recall. That's what we're doing now because it makes a lot of sense. And hey, we're only human. We make mistakes.
And more talky for the listeners.
More talky for the listeners. Yes, indeed.
So mark your calendars, Dangerlings. Episode 20 was the point where we said we're no longer going to cover 2 episodes in a single episode of Danger Recall again. So count us and let us know when it is we finally end up covering 2 episodes in an episode, because it might happen.
Then we're going to be ahead of ourselves, aren't we? And we're just going to be like, oh no, this is the new old show, not the old new show. Oh, what's going on? And then we'll be talking about future episodes, ones we haven't even made yet, blowing people's minds. This is episode 20, a matinee of life and death. Do you want to tell us about that title, Dan?
Matinee of Life and Death. I was really looking forward to this one because I knew you were going to, right at the start, there was a nice reward thing in place because you'd said, we want to perform at the circus. We want to be on for the matinee. So right from the start, you're like, okay, so when you finally succeeded in this, when you have saved the circus, and let's be honest, there were some moments where it looked a bit dodgy along the way. Yeah. But I was like, once they do that, they're going to get to put on a show. They're going to be on the bill for the matinee, and this is that matinee, which surprisingly did not become quite a matinee, although a number of people died in this episode, so perhaps it is a matinee of life and death.
Yeah. I love this. This is we got a good run of episodes now. I mean, I've enjoyed listening to them anyway, but this, I think the next 4 or 5 episodes are just so amazing. Like, I enjoy listening to this run of episodes so much. I don't know about you, team. We start this episode off, right? By the way, that we got some music from Kevin MacLeod. We got Shattered Helium. This is a new one, Shattered Helium. And a little known music act called Colin Hubbard. does some music on this one. So
he's like Chaz and Dave, isn't he? He's like a one-man Chaz and Dave, yeah.
I'd love that if there was like one of my songs in there that was like, oh, whoa, what you gonna do? Go back home and see Sue? You know what I mean? And it was a bit like Chaz and Dave. If you don't know who Chaz and Dave are, you have to wait for Danger Recall. That is an amazing band.
That was a sneak world preview of Colin's new album that's be out later in the month.
Do you know what?
Go home and see Sue.
I actually saw Chaz and Dave.
Did you?
As a side point. I saw Chaz and Dave in a small pub in New Cross, right? And it was packed, absolutely packed to the rafters. And I had a mosh pit to the song Rabbit.
Oh,
if
classic.
you've never heard the song Rabbit, that's a brilliant song. Go and check it out by Chaz and Dave. They're like this old Cockney duo, and they do like old-timey sort of songs. It's really fun. Really, really fun music. I love it. Check it out.
The Libertines are big Chaz and Dave fans, aren't they? They cite
massive Chaz and Dave fans, the Libertines. So if you don't know who the Libertines are, go and check them out. They're a big sort of indie band. We might have talked about them before. They are amazing. All right, so we start this episode with an NSYNC reference. And Scott sings a Backstreet Boys song. Scott's not here to defend himself, but hey, we all jumped on him and went, that's Backstreet Boys, that's Backstreet Boys. Ha ha ha. And then Dan says he's not moving on without doing an NSYNC song. Sorry, what were you going to say, James?
I was just going to say that credit Backstreet's Back is a banger.
Oh, mate.
I'll stand by that. It's great.
It is a banger of a song. I start singing...
Backstreet Back is a great tune. Larger Than Life is a great tune. And they're great tunes because they're the same song. Just with a slightly different video. Hey, they had a formula and it worked.
But hey, we're talking about NSYNC right now.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Yes.
We're not talking about the Backstreet Boys. I sing a song about called Girlfriend, and Scott's like, no, that's just Nelly. And I'm like, nope. It's NSYNC featuring Nelly, and I've deep dived on that song. So
of course you have.
I've been waiting a long time for this, Dangerlings. Oh my goodness! The only reason I started this show actually is this moment. No, I'm joking.
Danger Recall. We're gonna change the name to Colin Defends His References.
That's it.
Episode 20.
Now this song is actually a remix by the Neptunes. It was initially released as just by NSYNC, but then Nelly said, oh, you know what, I want to do a song with NSYNC. I really like Justin. And initially the record company, they said no because they thought he was trying to ruin his career. And that's the fact that I have about that song. So there you go. Go and check out NSYNC featuring Nelly called Girlfriend. Good song, that. I like it.
Fantastic. I like that. I like that very much. I was really glad that you and Drummond both came through with NSYNC tracks on that one, because I made that threat without any way to back it up, because as soon as I'd said it, I was like, I'm not sure I can think of an NSYNC song, so I just hope someone has one.
Oh yeah, Drum came up with Merry Christmas NSYNC or something. He started singing it, which was amazing. Yeah. I was like, big up Drum.
He's got a good set of pipes on him as Drummond, which makes no sense with the amount he smokes, but he's a good singer.
Yeah, smokes and drinks all night, gets about 2 hours sleep, and then wakes up and he's like, hello. He's like a crooner. He's amazing.
He's the Dean Martin of this group.
Yes, he is. Oh, mate, we start the episode, and I'm so glad you're here, James. We start the episode with Velda unconscious.
Oh my god!
Yay!
Yeah, we weren't here to talk about this last week. Because we were talking about it and we were laughing and we were saying that actually that there was a genuine kind of feeling of rage from you with Carragher doing that. Can you defend yourself on that and say it wasn't rage, or how did you feel when Carragher pushed that button and you fell down that trap door and you could have died?
It was a strange mix of emotions, because on one hand, obviously, something bad's happened to your character, and he was especially made of paper in these early episodes and was put in a perilous situation. But it was really, really funny, and because I believe Dan rolled a die to see that who would be randomly stood on the trapdoor, and it came out as Velda, and it was just one of those things that was perfect. So I think the rage was certainly not so much with me as a player. But it was one of those things where you're a little bit miffed, but then you have to bow to the gods of comedy and be like, that was actually really funny. But I just, it was the fact that nobody really realised I was in such peril. And they were like, look at you in the hole. It's like, I'm bleeding to death, guys. I'm literally bleeding to death in the hole. Like, it was a 20-foot drop, whatever.
Because I remember us all laughing about it, including you, James. And then afterwards, you were like, oh, do you know what? You could have killed my character. And if he's dead, then, you know, like you could have killed this character that I've created and grown to love a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and you were like, right, okay, let's start the episode and see what happens. And luckily enough, you're fine. Because Sheriff, go on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's an interesting point because, especially in the early episodes, there are quite a few pranks of like people pushing somebody over there or pushing the thing. But because we're all level 1 characters, there was a real threat there that one of these pranks would just go too far. It's like this overriding danger throughout. But it was a great moment. Loved it.
I mean, it's this run of episodes that we get really silly. We'll find out later in this episode, Fulton, you just keep jumping off things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just, Fulton likes jumping. The thing about Fulton is he copies people. He copies people's behaviours, and he sees, especially, I think that's where he started pushing Velda and stuff, is from when he saw Caragor push him into, pull the thing in, and Velda fell down. I think that's where it came from. So he doesn't understand banter, I don't think, Fulton.
Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because it took a bit of. There were a little bit of flexing with the GM. I like to think most GMs would have played it that way. But certainly if you're a real stickler for the rules, there are GMs that would have killed Velda in that one.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at the time it takes to draw a potion and climb down the rope and and how, if you really, really want to play it by the letter of the rules, we have all met GMs that would have run it that way.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if that had happened and we were now on sort of episode 120, whatever, and there's just this memory of like, remember that guy that we knew for like 2 days and we killed him in a practical joke gone wrong.
It's very kind of you to say that the Danger Club would still be referencing him, but they would have forgotten about him so long ago. He would never have been. Wasn't his name like something like Smelder or something? Oh yeah, whatever.
Remember his shit tent?
Woo, burn that, woo. Yeah.
Imagine that they would have killed Velda and then still gone and burned his head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that happens in this episode.
Yeah.
So Sheriff Veldane comes in. We've already rescued Velda. They meet the Gearwright brothers, and we get some things. We get a bit of gold, a bit of jewels and things. We explain that what we're going to keep, and we argue about money. And some want to keep, some don't. Now, does this happen quite a lot because this is just as we were beginning to decide who takes gold and who keeps it and how we share it and stuff. Does this happen quite a lot in games, Dan? Sorry, Dan's dying at the moment.
Just a mention of players getting reward. He's now choking to death.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
I was trying to choose someone else eyes while muting myself. I could cough.
I wasn't looking at the Zoom Dangerlings. I was just looking elsewhere, just like looking at my notes.
So dividing up loot it's something different parties do in different ways. And
I mean, we've already talked about it a little bit, haven't we? But
yeah. I think you guys have always been very egalitarian and individual about it. And I think part of that is just the way everyone's wired. Part of it's, I think, nobody wants to be the accountant of the group. Some groups you'll get one person who just handles all of the treasure and they're the bank. And if you want to buy something, you say, oh, how much gold have we got? We got this. Okay, fine, you can go buy a sword. And you can do it that way. But you guys have always sort of shared it out evenly. But then you have, sometimes you are presented with situations where you're given money, but is it necessarily the right thing to take the money? Because this gold belongs to the town, or some of it belongs to the town.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to know how much to give back because there's no way of tracing who any of this belongs to by this point. It's so far. It's not like you can just call all the townsfolk round and be like, right, who is owed money, because everyone's going to say yes. So it's really up to the party to decide how much they give back. And there are some guidelines in my notes and in the module kind of like, if you give back this amount, the town are sufficiently grateful that they are going to pay you a bounty, and you're going to effectively, it's usually, because these are games about heroes, it's usually beneficial to you to do the right thing. You usually get rewarded at some point down the road if you do the right thing in these kind of stories. So you could have made off with all the money yourself, and you'd probably have had slightly more. But
yeah, we could have.
you
We
wouldn't have got
we
reward
sort of
for the
chose not to do certain things, but we could have taken it all. Yeah, but ended up with a carnival after us or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And interesting enough, just a very quick point. I usually find that it's not money that causes arguments; it's items. So if there's a magic ring that does a specific thing, you get players fighting over that particular item. That's quite common. I think we've done that, sort of light-heartedly. But money is usually like, oh, well, we'll just split.
I remember in one of our social games, James, you were like, we found this amazing pair of boots. I can't remember what happened, but my character, I'd only just joined the social game, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll take those. And you were like, no, I'm going to take those. I'm going to take. Why don't you have these boots that I've had for a while? They're really good as well. And then you like fob these old shitty boots on me. And
they weren't old shit boots. They were something like leaping through combat with that sort of thing.
Right.
They were a bit shit.
We do
they weren't as good as these boots that we found.
They were very specific boots. They do one sort of very specific move.
We do that. James does that in video games as well. So don't worry about that.
How dare you, Ross?
When we're playing Divinity 2, James is like, "Oh, I'll take those," and I'm like, "Oh, what? I need them," and he's like, "Oh, you can have my old ones." I'm like, "Oh, they're rubbish."
Well, if we're going down this path very quickly, I can tell you that on Call of Duty, Ross is the Ross, I'm going to take all the guns Harmston, because you'll get the boxes, they're gone, and he's just sort of like, yeah, I'll take that one. It's like, I've literally got a tiny pistol. Yeah.
Talking of guns, the sheriff agrees with us. I mean, she doesn't talk about guns, actually, but the sheriff agrees with us and says that they're going to...
Imagine if the sheriff had a gun and still hadn't cleaned up this town.
We would have probably killed her and to take that
But
gun.
she does agree with us and says that she's going to hang the Skulks and Rubella, and then we argue that we're going to let this dude go, and then Fulton turns around to the sheriff and says, "Oh, can you kill this guy as well, please?" And because she rolls a natural 1, Fulton gets his way. Fulton, talk about that. Do you remember that?
Who was I asking to kill?
So there was
Pegleg. This is
Hamilton.
Pegleg Hamilton.
Yeah.
So I asked her to execute him because of what he
basically
did.
You went over to him and gave him a peg and said, "Now you can really be called Pegleg Hamilton." While he's sitting there nearly dying, like his
that was a
legs all
joke
broken.
that was two episodes in the making. I took a peg and then I was like, save that for later until we see him again.
I remember when you took that and we were like, why is he doing that? And then it was like, right, okay.
I'm always about the long game.
and then from then on, Sheriff Veldane just does anything Fulton says. She just kind of goes, "Oh yeah, great."
It's
really funny.
Go on.
Yeah, Fulton's basically a folk hero by this point, like because of that role, because you make that one roll, and the sheriff comes a roll so badly on sense motive that she comes away believing that basically Fulton single-handedly saved the town, and the rest of you just helped.
Yes.
Like, there's probably a statue of Fulton in Ilsuri.
I need to go back there. We didn't see him actually. We didn't see him actually die, did we? Pegleg. I guess he just got taken off out the back and shot like Old Yeller.
No, we saw him being hung. We saw him being hung as he dropped. We heard the noose drop.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Rubella was already hanging and already dead. And then we're going to come to Unami in a second.
Let's run through the timeline of this, because I think I said when we did the intro for the episode after, I feel like this is one of the darkest moments in the entire
Okay, make it quick, Dan, because time is ticking away.
Okay. Okay. Just every time I want to bring up your amorality, Colin.
Come on, Dan.
You're like,
come on.
No time for morality. No time.
Moving on.
Money.
So Pegleg Hamilton surrenders to you because he's scared of you. He agrees to back down and not fight you. You then break his legs and hang him from the ceiling and just leave him there. And you're like, okay, we're going to come back for you, and then we're going to heal you if you do it. And then you come back, drag him to the sheriff, and tell the sheriff to kill him.
That's pretty bad.
So I want to take you quickly to the Danger Club the Danger Club Justifiable Homicide Tracker,
that's
which
great.
is rapidly becoming back to the murder tracker. Because I've gone ahead and given a point to Fulton Battlestone for Pegleg Hamilton for convincing the sheriff to hang him when he didn't have to. I was umming and ahhing over who defeated Pegleg Hamilton, but I think his final death goes with Fulton.
The blood's on Fulton's
even though he
hands,
didn't actually swing it himself.
Good.
Oh, now yeah.
Now, there's a reason. There is a reason that we decided to kill this character, Dangerlings, and we talked about this in the show a little bit. But this is because we thought that he would just come back as a nemesis, didn't we, team? Because when we don't kill someone, Dan, as a DM, often brings them back to revenge, to come back and kill us, doesn't he, Ross and James?
Yeah, I mean, any DM does that, really. Like,
Sure.
it's literally carte blanche.
It's not just that.
Yeah.
Loose ends are, sort of bread and butter to DMs. I think.
It's literally like, good, yes, good.
Splendid,
You've left a
yes.
child there with his parents murdered. I'm going to use him in 2 years' time and then have him come back as a thing that goes, I'm old now, I'm going to kill you. Not that you'd be playing for 10 years while this guy grows up, but yeah.
You never know.
That'd be a
that'd be a hell of a campaign, and that would be a callback of the ages, wouldn't it? So 10 years ago,
Right, what even happened then? 1999. What?
dude, we've killed so many people since then. I totally
Yeah,
remember.
what?
Your
I don't even know
parents.
who you are. That's kind of like Kill Bill 3, isn't it? There's a rumor that Kill Bill 3, you know, the little girl who watched her mum die in Kill Bill. That Kill Bill 3 will be her coming back to event. That would be sick, though, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 20 years later, and we see Kill Bill 3, where Uma Thurman's like 20 years older, and this little kid just is now 30, and
I think that
There are certainly adventuring parties that play like that. There are certainly player groups that are just like, you have to kill everybody that you meet in the campaign. Like even the person who hires you, it's probably best just to off them at the end of it, just to make sure that there is no continuous story that can carry on. Because if you leave anyone alive, they might come back in the story later.
Imagine that we just sail off and Ilsurian is burning to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we do loads of other stuff, and that's the end. Brilliant. No, I'm not going to do that. I love this little bit where Carragher says to M, "I just want you to be happy," and M says, "I'm never happy." I love that. That was really fun. We ask about hanging and why it's exciting, and some guys like, "Oh yeah, you just love it. It's really good." And then like this random villager, Fulton just gives them a gold piece, and he's like, "Oh, you're all right, you lot," and walks off. We go back to the carnival, and we see Ica and Mistress Dellison and Amara. And Amara Dellison, sorry. Kara explains what's been done. Ica sort of cheers and gets really happy. Travis has an errand to go to Kaer Marga. This is where we first hear about Kaer Marga. Well, it's not the first time actually, but
it's been seeded.
We've been seeded.
The gear rights
yeah.
are from Kaer Marga.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, all right. So Travis is going to Kaer Marga. So this is where we find out that maybe we're going to go. We don't find that out till later, but maybe we find out some stuff. Caragor gets an orange sash, which is the scarf of the secret dance. Is that right?
It is, yes. I think it's the scarf of the suggestive dance.
Like yeah, that's it.
It gives you like extra points when you dance. I don't think he ever used it, but it's a lovely little flavour item.
No, I think he was going to use it in the last dance at the end of the episode, but I don't think he got around to it. So we see Rubella is hung. Pegleg is being hung, and the peg falls out of his hands as he's shaking on the noose. That imagery as the peg just
even
falls.
now, Ross isn't paying attention. He's he's just looking away from the camera. He's like, I don't care about this. He got what was coming to him.
Yeah.
Now the skulks are hanging around, and they're asking about Unami. They want the shiver that's in Unami's pockets, and they want to sort of torture her. And the skulks are mad that Unami has put the children, because the children's skulks, the child's skulks are all addicted to shiver, and it's Unami's fault. So they kind of want to torture her. And true again. Veldane, Fulton turns around and says, "Oh, can you give Unami over?" And Veldane's like, "Yeah, whatever you say, Fulton." Just like,
which everyone jumped on me for. I'll have you know, in the episode, especially
absolutely.
Caragor. Caragor was like, "What are you doing, Fulton?"
I mean, it was the second display of arbitrary justice you dealt out in about 5 minutes. So,
it's their thing. If they want to torture this guy, then let them. It's their right. They want their justice by torturing.
well, Caragor takes the step and shoots an arrow through Unami. I think M had a very similar idea because he was like, "Oh,
yeah." As he was leaving, wasn't he? You shot him.
Yeah, that's what Caragor
In the
did.
back,
Yeah,
like
which
a
I think
coward.
was probably
Like a coward.
Caragor's not here to
I think
defend himself.
It's safe to say that this was a fairly messy end and pretty grim,
It was,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I mean, there's no neat ending for the Skulks.
No,
That's
it's
kind
very
of the
true,
tragedy
yeah,
of
yeah,
this. They are beyond help, and sadly their kids kind of are as well. So they will never really get the justice that they deserve or that they want from it. So that's always going to be quite a sort of messy one.
I love this moment where Michael steps forward and shakes the hand of one of the villagers. This is really nice, isn't it? Where he's like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I really love that in game. I was like, yes. And I remember everyone around the table was like, oh, that's really nice touch there, Dan. Well done. All that storytelling, he's good at it, isn't he?
I would be interested to see what the Dangerlings would do in that situation. Whether they would just watch if the Scots came to them, the players, and said, "We want him. We want to torture the Skulk." So I wonder what they would do. Whether they would hand them over or not.
Get on the Discord and tell us, Danger
Yeah.
Lings.
And it is interesting. It's a very Witcher scenario, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like, they're both kind of awful, and the whole situation was pretty bad to start with. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I think the whole moral choice at the end it threw you a little bit that like long-term imprisonment wasn't something the town were considering for any of these people. I think there was this idea when you're rounding people up that there's this kind of Rikers Island just off the coast of Ilsurian, and it's like, we've busted you now, you're going to go to jail. Whereas actually, it's a small frontier town, you know. If you think they're dangerous, these people are either going to be exiled from the town and just told to leave, or they're going to hang them. Like it is that kind of level of justice for that kind of crime there.
interesting. Just a very quick historical fact as well that back in, if this was the medieval sort of Middle Ages kind of things like that, there wasn't really a concept of prison or jails. Like if you were very, very well to do, you might get put in captivity, but generally justice was meted out on a sort of like, right, okay, you pay a fine, or we'll do this, or you get hung, because there wasn't who's going to pay for these prisons, who's going to look after these prisoners. So yeah, it's actually quite typical of the time that you just be like, well, we'll just hang them.
Not to go off on a tangent, but Plaguestone has got some quite interesting stuff about circuit judges and like how justice works in the fantasy world of like how people are. Part of the reason you're stuck in the town is you have to wait for the local magistrate to come round to deal with this, because the local town don't deal with that kind of level of crime. I think it's nice to get those little bits.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about prisons all day, couldn't we? I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it, to be honest. I mean, I know people need to pay consequences and stuff like that, but, it's a really weird thing. I think I saw this in an episode of Seinfeld. I think it's like you go in there and think about what you've done. It's a very sort of like arbitrary way to solve someone's, I don't know. The fact that they're committing crimes anyway is...
It's a bit out of sight, out of mind, isn't it? It's just sort of like, we don't really want to see you anymore, so you just go in that box for 15 years. There we go, boom, job
Here's
done.
a question. What's your favourite prison?
Let's not go there. So look,
obviously, come on.
For me, it's Fort Boyard, because a UK celebrity, Melinda Messenger, used to have an entertaining game show where people used to go around. It was an old French prison off the coast of France.
Jack the Door. That's what he used to say.
He's actually a character who's coming up in the Danger Club soon, Jack the Door.
All right, so look. So let's get back to the episode. All right, because we're nearly at the end. All right, so
Sorry.
not M. So Bobby Mack kind of comes over and speaks and does all this whole speech, and we give him a big cheer, and we the carnival sounds. I love the carnival sounds. And M's in the front row. He hasn't. He's not going to get involved in the performance, but the rest of them perform. They improvise it because Dan gave us like a 2-second warning, which was brilliant. I love that, and it's kind of like as Scott said in the episode, that is a little dip into what it is like to be a performer a lot of the time. Someone just goes, we need to do this, and you're like, oh shit, okay, here we go. So actors and performers out there, you know what we're talking about. M sends Pasta over to the stage. Fulton just stands there kind of shuffling his legs on stage. Velda does a bunch of dancing lights, and Shania does this whole bass thing that I had to mute because it was too loud, which it was brilliant. It was so good, but it was so overpowering. I was like, oh shit, that's too loud. And then we sing "Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover" by Sophie B. Hawkins. That went to number 5 on the Billboard Top 100, by the way. Fardeen claps. The entire village loves it. Travis gives tokens to everyone, and that's Adventure 1 done.
Completed. Colin, you've missed one very important thing that happens in this episode.
Tell me.
During it. We have the first mention of Pocket Meat.
We do have the first mention of Pocket Meat, yes.
Fulton eats some Pocket Meat, and it is purely because Ross wants to eat something on mic.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that.
And is it this the first time the Danger Club perform as a group, isn't it?
This is the first time we do a performance.
Yeah, this is the first time we do a performance.
Don't overshadow the Pocket Meat creation on episode 20 of the Danger Club.
We're getting to Pocket Meat. All right,
Colonel Fulton. And the seminal moment.
Yeah.
Listen, I loved that episode. I really did. It was a lot of fun to make. It was a lot of fun to listen to. I hope you enjoyed it, Dangerlings. I hope you enjoyed it. Team with me today, James Lockhart. Did you enjoy it?
No. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was great. And it was lovely to successfully complete the adventure, because there was at one point we were genuinely worried we were going to completely fluff it. We were like, we don't really know what we're doing. But I think that was a successful conclusion and set the scene for future successes.
Ross Man Harmston, did you enjoy that episode?
Yes, I especially enjoyed putting the life of Pegleg Hamilton into a noose and watching his neck crack. And then I also enjoyed handing over the skulk to watch him be tortured.
Good. Those are the takeaways from Ross there.
Good.
And Dan, did you enjoy DMing this?
I did. It was tremendous fun. Lovely to reach the end of Murder's Mark. Probably one of my favourite Pathfinder adventures. Really enjoyed running it. And interestingly, completed in 20 episodes. We completed that whole adventure. I should point out, at the time of recording, we are 21 episodes into playing The Slithering and have yet to play the first encounter of the book from it.
Yeah.
So things have elongated over the years.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that was Danger Recall, episode 20. Thank you so much for joining us, Dangerlings. All right, so, get on the Discord, talk to us. If you need us, we are here. Get on the tweets if you tweet. Get on the Facebook if you Facebook. Get on the... just get on it. We love you. Get on the gram. Take care. Bye, Dangerlings.
Bye. Rest in peace, Peg Legs.